Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope your Thanksgiving was fantastic. Mine was busy. I was busy eating food and making sure my wife made food, and it was just a whole thing. I hope it was fantastic. I got some projects I've been working on. They're too big. I keep making videos too big. I gotta make some short ones. I gotta make some smaller ones. Joe Biden, he is such a liar, bro. In this video, we got Joe Biden lying and all the mainstream media lying for the last how many years now since they charged. Dude, Joe Biden blamed his own DOJ. He said he says selective prosecution of his son, his own DOJ investigated and charged his son, but now is saying that selective prosecution is why he's pardoning his son, and then he didn't pardon him for the crimes he was charged with. He pardoned him for everything that he anything he could have done, may have done, we're not sure he did yet, hasn't been charged with, or anything for the last 10 years plus. Since 2014, anything he's done, any crimes he's committed against the United States has been pardoned by Joe Biden. What a liar, what a coward, what a confusing time to be alive, and I'm here for it. I got a music video later. It is a death metal anime music video that I touched up, did some things with, added all the captions to so you can understand it because of course it's death metal. And, yeah, you'll like that later on, and, it's about the hand of God. It's an anime death metal Russian video that's just, it's just for you. But yeah, we'll celebrate that later. But yeah, we'll check out and see what they say about this. But as soon as I'm reading the headlines and I'm seeing the shit he's saying, a, a selective prosecution, an outrageous prosecution of my son. That was that was you. You did that. What? Okay, what a weird time to be alive. I'm here for it. Are you here for it? Are you here? Do the things. I need you to press the buttons. Press the buttons. Do the things for me. Appreciate you.
In 100 years, in 2124, we will all be buried with our relatives and friends. Strangers will live in our homes which we fought so hard to build, and they will own everything we have today. Our descendants will hardly know who we were. Our death we will be remembered for a few years. And a few years later, our history, our photos, our deeds go into the dustbin of oblivion. We won't even be memories. Maybe if one day we stopped to analyze these questions, we would understand how ignorant and weak the dream of obtaining everything was, always having more and more, without having time for the things that are really worthwhile in this life. I'd change all that to live and enjoy those walks I've never taken, those ungiven hugs and kisses to our children and our loves. That is what life is all about.
Presidential promise to put the law before a family.
I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
Was asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but he said it.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question about that.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son. Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging not to pardon his son. The contrast is profound. To sit there and say, I'm not going to intervene in the legal process, and I wouldn't pardon my son. One side, Democrats and Joe Biden protecting the justice system. And on the other, Republicans in Trump protecting Trump.
Breaking news tonight. President Biden has made a decision to pardon his son Hunter.
Yeah, that's exactly what you thought it was. That was a 9-minute supercut. That was a 9-minute long supercut put together. And then Tim Pool's editors sped it up each time the segment ended. It sped the segment up, and by the end, it was unrecognizable because it was so fast. It made my ears bleed. It made I think at a moment I think I passed out for a second, possibly. Anyway, I wasn't gonna put a same. I felt the same as Tim. I wasn't gonna put you through that 9-minute supercut. Trust and believe. it was a 9 minute straight cut of the Mockingbird assets just saying the
I
same thing
can't know
over
how
and
to
over
hear
and
any
over
more
again,
about
nonstop.
cable.
What we can't let them get out of it that easy. They're not going to get away with it that easy. Mark Dice got a video too, talking a little bit more about it, and just showing a little bit more of just like how corrupt this really is. This really isn't about the pardoning Hunter. You realize that, right? Because if they go after Hunter and expose the crimes he did, it exposes what Joe Biden did with and his family taking money for influence. Whenever Trump investigates all of his crimes, there it's now Trump can't do that. Trump can't go after Hunter at all because not only did Joe he didn't just pardon his son from the crimes he committed with the guns and the taxes. He he pardoned him from all crimes from like January 1st, 2014 till December 1st, 2024. I believe they even joked and said whenever he pardoned him, Hunter actually had a couple hours left to commit more crimes if he wanted to, and then he could never be investigated for it. Um, it makes me really wonder about the presidential pardon system, how that works, and why we allow that. Um, you know, how does Hunter Biden get pardoned before January 6th protesters that are still in jail today 4 years later? How does he get a pardon? And then you cite it's because of a malicious selective prosecution just to go after you to make you look bad, Joe, when it was your DOJ. It was Merrick Garland that went after him. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, the corruption is wild. This is one of the most corrupt things I've ever seen. This this pardoning of Hunter is one of the most corrupt things, bold in your face, that I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm in my 40s. This is something that I never thought I would see. Um, this is wild. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting a little bit. I think this is a huge deal. I think this sets a precedent that is absolutely disgusting, and it really wipes away investigations that will be going after Joe Biden. I think at this point, I was okay with mending the country a little bit. I was okay with maybe Trump pardoning Hunter, if he wasn't gonna go after Joe or something. If it would've went that way, I would feel differently about it. Now that he did it this way, bold-faced, just in your face, like, I don't care that I'm corrupt. I don't care that this looks like. I'm doing it anyway. Just because he decided to do it this way, I think I want Trump to go after him now. I think it needs to be exposed, everything, all the money that they stole. It's just this is disgusting. All right. Let's see what Mark Dice has to say before I start ranting and go on too long.
In a move that surprised no one, Joe Biden went back on his word again last night, pardoning his crackhead, tax evading, illegal firearm purchasing, money laundering consigliere, Hunter, but not just for the crimes that he was convicted of and about to be sentenced to jail time for here just a few weeks, but for any and all possible crimes that he may have committed over the last 10 years, which means that he can't be prosecuted for the corruption that he was involved in with Burisma.
As we sit here in Normandy, your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
Breaking news tonight. President Biden has made a decision to pardon his son Hunter.
What the hell are you talking about? What?
See, like these are those times where like I'm really, really confused about the deep state. There was, and I hate to say that I always took a little bit of comfort in the security that the deep state being 20, 40, 50 years ahead of us. Just because I'm a father and I have children that, one is of age, one is coming of age, and once that one that's coming of age is of age, and I feel confident that if I was gone, he would be able to navigate anything that life throws at him well and confidently, especially as it's my only boy. I need to make sure that he's good to go. My daughter, of course, she's 18. I believe she's good to go. I believe if I died tomorrow, I believe she would be okay. Um, my son, on the other hand, he still has a little bit to go. He had some health things. He had cancer as a young child. he's still not out of the woods of that. Diabetic because of the cancer and the radiation that destroyed his entire body and to bring him back to life. I almost had to bury my son whenever he was between 4 and 7 years old. Um, I won't get into that too much, but yeah. So, you know, it's one of those things where I did take a little bit of comfort thinking the deep state was so far ahead that there's nothing we can do now, and we're on the rails of whatever they have planned for us, and that's the end of it. And I hope, we can all the really evil, bad stuff we can try to get out at some point. I didn't know, a little bit of black pill. You feel a little bit black pilled. You really do. After that 2020 election and the cheating and, whatever you want to call it, 20 million votes, you want to call it now after weeks and after a month of counting. Now it's like, what is it, like 10 million votes or 8 million votes are missing? It's just, but the night of the election, it was like 20 million some votes were missing, and it took them a month to go, no, it's not 20 million, it's actually like 7 million. It's not that bad. But the country's still racist and sexist and all those things, even though Kamala Harris got, 10 to 15 million more votes than Barack Obama did. One of the most popular presidents going in to, like, I'd have to check the stats, so don't quote me on that. I'm just riffing here, but a lot of people were really excited to vote for a black president and to show that we're not racist. We're not. It's not. That's not what it is. Then here we still are all these years later from 2008. Here we are, all the almost 2 decades later, it's still having to say, "No, it's not because she's a woman. No, it's not because she's black," or whatever you're saying she is. It's not that, it's that she sucks. It's that she sucks. Anyway, I went off on a tangent. See what I mean? Videos get too long because I run my mouth. But anyway, you know, back to the deep state. They really thought they were gonna win. Is that like either all these idiots are really good actors or the deep state isn't as far ahead of us as I thought they were, which also brings the excitement and the fear of, "Oh my god, they're really not 20, 40 years ahead of us. They're only like one election ahead of us, and they're just trying to craft and cultivate that election so they can win, and every day is a battle and every day is a struggle to win the narrative." Is this really what's happening? Is this are they is the deep state are they being defeated by individual basket makers getting off their shift at Costco, stocking the shelves, and then I come home and I make my basket. I know I'm not making a difference. I just started, a month ago. I started a month ago. And, I make random stuff. Maybe some people like it, maybe some people don't. But I'm basically covering the same current events that everyone else is covering. I just, I like to laugh a little bit more. Everyone else's videos are so, I don't know, they're so the same. You know what I mean? It's just always the same. It's always the same video clips. It's always the same things being spread around. And yeah, I'm still using their clips and I'm still using the news that everyone else is using. But I don't know. You guys tell me if I'm wrong and you don't like to laugh a little bit and joke. I have a music video here and there, a little music video mashup, little AI video with a weird song that doesn't go with that video, but I make it work and add some subtitles so you know what's going on if you're not into the music or don't know the music that well. I don't know. I like all that random stuff. I like mixing shit up and making it cultural and making it current stuff. I don't know. I'm into that stuff. So it's just I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place. I make content in a lot of different genres. Dude, I got a cat channel that you don't know nothing about. It's just like I make wild stuff. I make all types of different stuff, and I'm trying not to fill this channel up with random stuff and trying to stay on task with it and try to keep it entertaining, but still cover these main current events. And again, I'm off on a tangent. I don't even know what I was even talking about because this is more. I don't know. I just run my mouth. It is what it is. But I almost want to get a phone and let people call me and run their mouths because I'm a troll. I don't know if anyone's realized that by now, but don't take me serious. I'm not. I'm a When I'm being serious, you'll know it. You'll know if I'm being serious or not. But most of the time I'm taking a piss, dude. This shit is so ridiculous to me. All these characters on this screen I'm watching, all these joke humans that I just can't take these people serious, man. I really can't. And if the shit went down tomorrow and the world ended, the internet was shut off, electronics were shut off, I know me and my family, we're gonna be fine. I mean, we're gonna enjoy it. We're good. We're ready for that life. Bring that shit on. Let's go. A lot of these people are gonna struggle. A lot of people are gonna be pounding on my door, wanting to know why we're still okay. And it's just like I don't know what to tell you. Y'all are in for some shit. Um, With that said, they really didn't think Trump was gonna win. They thought we smeared him so bad he won't win. So this dude really had to wait to the last. That's the whole everything I just said, all them words I said, ultimately, really what it comes down to. And that's why I put chapters. That's why my chapters are so precise, is because I want you to be able to jump around and watch what you want to watch and enjoy what you want to enjoy with my videos. Because I know I'm jumping all over the place. So enjoy what you can enjoy, and that's what the point is. Um, Ultimately, everything I just said boiled down to Joe Biden and the deep state thought they did enough that Trump would not be able to win. And now that he won, they're in oh shit mode. Delete the emails, get the bleach bit. What was it? What did Hillary say? Was it's just whatever. It's Hillary Clinton email time. It's delete the evidence, wash all your electronics, get rid of everything, hide the kids, hide the bodies, pardon Hunter for every crime he ever committed, or even the stuff you don't even know about.
Because once you take office, you're going to see all the stuff I've been hiding, and oh my god, holy shit.
But it's scary to think. Are they really winging this shit? Are we in charge? Are they in charge? Who's in charge? Is Joe Biden in charge? Or is the media in charge? Is George Soros in charge? Are the basket makers in charge? Who's in charge?
He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
He was never going to pardon him, right? Cringe, Jean-Pierre?
I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No. I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
First briefing since Hunter was indicted again in Los Angeles. Why doesn't President Biden just pardon him?
President, I've been very clear. The president's not going to pardon his son.
His son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
President Biden says that he's not going to pardon his son, Hunter. Is he going to ask Donald Trump to do that?
I don't have anything else to share about that. I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this. I've been very clear. The president's been very clear when we've been asked this question.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying...
It's still a no. It's still a no. It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no. And I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
I'll put the statement from Joe Biden in the pardon in the description, just like all the sources I have will be in the description with links attached. He said, "This is the thing that really kills me. This shit right in your face. It really kills you. It's so hard. It's so hard to read this. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision making, and I kept my word even as I watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filled out a gun form. Those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions but paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties are typically given non-criminal resolutions. It is clear that Hunter was treated differently." Joe, we haven't seen yet, buddy. Do you know what's going on, friend? Do you know what's happening? We don't know he hasn't been sentenced yet, so we don't know about him being treated. How is he being treated differently? He lied on a form to get a gun, and it was because he threw the gun in a dumpster by a school, dude. Like that's why this became such a big deal. Because whenever you come out and you say you have to forgive all my behavior because I'm a drug addict, then that opens you up to people going, okay, what else did you do? If you were on drugs and you're saying that everything you did wrong was because of drugs, but what else were you doing at this time? You bought a gun during this time that you said that you're a public figure. You are the son of the president. Joe, whenever you make your DOJ go after your political opponents and you attack Trump and you try and the deep state tries to smear Trump into oblivion so he's not allowed to be president ever again. When you guys do that stuff, and then you play victim whenever the congressional Republicans turn it back around on you, and then you claim that they're the ones doing it. Joe, you started the weaponization of the DOJ. Your side started it. Democrats started it. The DNC started it. Your side set this precedent, and it's going to go downhill fast if Trump doesn't stop it. So I'm very torn on whether I want him to, but at this point, because you did this and how you did it, I kind of want him to go after you now. I kind of want him, and it really comes down to what if this is what it was all about, him being selectively and prosecuted out of nothing, the same way that you went after Trump, and that's why you're pardoning him. Then why did you go back to 2014, Joe? Did you just pick that date out of a hat, or does it happen to be the year that Putin-backed Russian president won an election after he sat out for years after you stole the first election from him? He won again a second time, and you couldn't fix it and overthrow that election, so it went to violence, and we had to overthrow it in the streets. Now, the Medan massacre, look, we spend so much money over there. I'm not going to get into this in this video or what I think happened during the Orange Revolution and the Medan massacre and the overthrowing of a duly elected president that happened to be a Russian-backed Putin-backed president. We what happened in that massacre in those streets to overthrow that government, to install Poroshenko, an American-backed president, that all happened, and you guessed it, 2014, when when Putin annexed Crimea. Guess when that was? 2014. When do you think? Whenever guess who was vice president of the United States in 2014? Joe Biden. Guess who was on TV talking about firing prosecutors, the prosecutors that were prosecuting Burisma at the time, and if they don't change those prosecutors, then they're not getting this money. Remember that tape from Joe Biden? And guess who was on that? But guess who got a job at that? Guess who was working at that Burisma place that was being investigated by that horrible corrupt prosecutor? Hunter Biden was working there in 2014. That's when he got on the board of Burisma. Was in 2014. So, yeah, this is all just subterfuge of just what you really are like. That's it's just hide the ball, dude. This is crazy. You're pretending you're pardoning Hunter for a gun form that he filled out and lied on, and not paying his taxes on time. And then you use that to pardon him for any crimes that we know about or don't know about all the way back to 2014 when, Ukraine just happened to overthrow a Putin-backed president and government and had blood in the streets to install Poroshenko. Just a coincidence that that's the same time that Hunter got on the board of Burisma. Just a coincidence that it's the same time that Joe was saying, hey, you better get rid of that prosecutor. If not, then I'm going to withhold all this aid because that was really protecting his son, funneling money to his family for pay to play. I mean, it's like, dude, this shit hurts my head. That's why I already, dude, I had like a 10-minute rant on the Orange Revolution of Midday in here, and I had to just delete it because I'm not going to sit here and litigate every little piece of that. I don't know what happened in Ukraine. I don't know if we overthrew their government, dude. I'm just some guy in my living room in Pennsylvania. But I'll tell you what, we spent billions of dollars in Ukraine and all the ex-Soviet nations, and that Orange Revolution and that the 2004, 2005, whenever they annulled the second round of the election in Ukraine, look into that shit. Look into what happened in Ukraine in 2004 with the presidential election. It's like it's so similar. It's crazy. It really is crazy. The second round was annulled, and then they did it again. And oops, the Putin Russian backed president. Oh, he lost actually. Oh, okay. So he sat out for years, then he came back, and he came back and he ran again, and he won again. The voters voted for the Putin-backed, Russian-backed guy again. And then the Medan massacre happened. Hunter took a job at Burisma. Biden was vice president. He got rid of a prosecutor that was looking into corruption at Burisma, where he was funneling millions of dollars. I mean, dude, and then a pardon for a gun and tax crime in America goes all the way back to 2014. What a strange year and date to pick, Joe. And just like always, every time I talk about this kind of stuff, I always have to because both sides get so mad when I talk about conspiracy theories. Like the left comes after me, the right comes after me is wild. Whenever I talk about things that, aren't like popular to talk about, like what we do, what you said, and the money we spend, and the ex-Soviet nations, and our meddling in the elections, and our political and social power there. I, Again, I'm okay. I want America to be as dominant, as influential as possible, but there is a very dark line that I do not ever want us to cross, and that is definitely has to do with bloodshed, propaganda, lying, deceit, and all those things are really they are those things. I want us to do it up until the point where someone is going to get hurt or you're doing things just for money, and it's so wrong. But I want us to have influence all over the world. That's how we stay powerful. And for my babies to have babies, to have babies, to have babies, I need them to be safe and never be on goddamn sex slave trains going all around the world. So I need my generations of family to never have to deal with that. So unfortunately, my government has to get out there in front of a lot of stuff and do a lot of shady stuff. But there's a line I don't want you to cross. And even if that means that our empire crumbles, then maybe we don't then maybe the empire crumbles then. It's just but at the same time, we need to do our influence. We need to peddle our propaganda. We need to get out into the world. If we don't, someone else will. That's that's the point. So with everything I'm saying, take it with a grain of salt. I'm okay with a lot of stuff we do. I really worry that we caused and pushed for violence in 2014 in Ukraine and allowed it to happen so we could get Poroshenko in. And then what we did with Zelensky, getting Zelensky in after Poroshenko. It's just the whole the people of the region voted for a Putin-backed, Russian-backed president twice. They voted for him in 2004 or 2005, and then again. I don't remember if that was 2010 or 2014. I'd have to look into it again. I have a big project going for the Ukraine stuff for this channel, but it's just I unfortunately I have to make all these qualifiers whenever I talk about it because everyone gets so mad about it. But anyway, I'm sure. Let's get back to the video. I'm sure Biden doesn't have any tapes where the media is filleting him, talking about how brave he is and how awesome he is, just to go back on his promise and everything that he's been saying every day up until last night.
Old Joe would never do such thing because he's the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way.
What is before us is a president who is living the rule of law. He is living it in in the most personal way. He is not pardoning his son, which he could do. These are federal charges. He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country.
I'm calling for a constitutional amendment called No One is Above the Law Amendment. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law. The American principle that no one is above the law was reaffirmed. The justice system should be respected, and we should never allow anyone to tear it down.
This is after the Trump kangaroo court verdict.
Those responsible can be held accountable. In my administration, no one is above the law.
No one's above the law, huh? Would you like to repeat that empty slogan and lie over and over again? Operation Mockingbird assets when referring to Donald Trump being indicted?
The idea that no person is above the law is a bedrock principle of American justice.
No man is above the law, no matter what the crime.
And I agree with you. No man is above the law, and no person is above the law.
No man is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No man is above the law.
He has to be held accountable. He's not above the law.
No one's above the law. Either that nor any other title puts you above the rule of law.
No one is truly above the law. That is what it means to have a rule of law. That is what it means to not have a king.
Well, I won't pretend to speak for the entire caucus, but I will say, way to go, Joe. Let me be the first one to congratulate the president for deciding to do this.
I think it was appropriate. I think conditions change. I think it is unbelievably hypocritical and almost ludicrous to the point of laughter that you have anybody out there talking about hypocrisy when you're talking about, specific types of harms or commutations. It just gets to the point that you just shake your head because it's just the that they spew out that Steve Bannon talked about, and that's what they want to do is flood the zone with. That's what they're doing.
Former Congressman Denver Riggleman, thank you very much. Former Congressman of Virginia, thank you very much for being here this evening.
But surprisingly, former one-term Republican Congressman Joe Walsh from Illinois, who couldn't find a job after he lost his reelection, so he joined the Never Trump train as a Trump-hating MSNBC contributor, actually makes a little bit of sense here.
Joe Biden repeatedly said he wouldn't do this, so he repeatedly lied. But this just furthers the cynicism that people have about politics, and that cynicism strengthens Trump, because Trump can just say, I'm not a unique threat. Everybody does this. If I do something for my kid, my son-in-law, whatever, look, Joe Biden does the same thing. I get it, but this was a selfish move by Biden, which politically only strengthens Trump. It's just deflating.
It's deflating, he says. But he is right in that this only emboldens Donald Trump and gives him more justification to immediately start pardoning the January 6th political prisoners on January 20th once he's sworn in. And I'm willing to bet that if Hunter wasn't pardoned by old Joe, Donald Trump would have pardoned him as well as one of his first acts as the returning president to try to help the country heal, to throw the Democrats a bone, and to troll them as well. But sadly, he won't have that opportunity.
Let Mark Dice get his final word in real quick. A link for his whole video will be down in the description with anything else I used in the video. I really do feel like Donald Trump would have pardoned Hunter Biden to try to heal the nation. I do think that was something that he would have done if the transition went well and there was no other bullshit in play. I do think that was something that people were calling for, and I wasn't really against it. I didn't think about it too much because I knew this was going to happen. I knew Biden was going to pardon Hunter. People are calling for Joe to step down now and say, if you're going to do this selfish bullshit and you're going to do the shadiest pardon ever in the history of presidential pardons, then you need to step down after this, cite medical stuff or whatever you want, and just step down. If you're Kamala Harris, do you want to be this person? Do you want to backdoor your way in? Do you want to back into being the first ever female president? Is that what America deserves? Do you think we should have our first ever president as someone that just is sworn in the last month of being in office because Joe Biden steps down because of health issues, but really it's just corruption and nonsense? And it really, if Joe didn't pardon Hunter, Trump would have pardoned him. And the way that it really comes down to the pardon isn't the issue, guys. It's because of the pardon back to 2014. That pardon going back to 2014 having nothing to do with taxes or gun crimes. Why'd you go back to 2014? It's because that's when Joe famously said, "Oh, you can't have the $1 billion. If Poroshenko doesn't fire the prosecutor, then they can't." Poroshenko was the American-backed president that got in after the Maidan massacre in 2014. In 2014, they whatever you want to claim happened, protesters showed up, gunfire erupted, hundreds of people were murdered in the streets, and then the presidency was vacated when the Putin-backed Russian-backed president fled because he was going to face crimes because they were absolutely committing a coup against him. And blood in the streets, everything fell out, and he ran away and went back to Russia to be safe because they were going to throw his ass in jail, line him up against a wall, and execute him because of what he did in his years as president. This is a guy that won the presidency in 2004. They annulled it and said it didn't happen. The other guy won. Fine. He left for 5 years, let that guy be president for 5 years, came back in 2010 and ran again and won again. The Putin-backed, Russian-backed president won again in 2010. He changed some things. He amended some things in their constitution. Yeah, he changed some stuff. He went in the Russian way. Yeah, but that's what the people voted for, man. I don't know what to say. I never think that Russia and Putin, this is always trade war. This is why I talk about it this way, is because I really look at it as trade wars. I don't ever think that Putin wants to kill American civilians. He doesn't want to kill Ukrainian civilians. He doesn't want to kill any civilians. He doesn't want. Look, this is all political positioning and trade. This is a trade war. That's what this is, and it's getting way out of control. And us, the way that we, I, I don't want to get into it. The way that we do things is very dangerous, and these things are very volatile, and they could fall out very quickly. Unfortunately, whenever Poroshenko took over the vacancy. That was an American-backed guy. He took over. Then you see why he was installed, because when Joe Biden needed what he needed in Ukraine to do what they were doing with their money laundering, and he really put the pressure on and said, "You need to fire that prosecutor that's looking into Burisma now," and with all the other things involved in it. If you don't, I'm not giving you the $1 billion in aid. So Joe Biden withheld $1 billion in aid to fire a prosecutor that was investigating the company that they were laundering, who knows, untold millions of dollars for. It's not just for Joe Biden and his family. It's for the Obamas. It's for all. It's the entire unit. It's their money laundering system. I don't know how it works. I don't know how much they funnel through and where. But I promise you, all those shell companies, all that stuff distributed so many millions of dollars to the Obamas and Clintons and those legacy families that run the deep state and run this shit. It's really, really disgusting. It's very, very black pill shit. I don't want to get into it. But this, I'm gonna show it. This is Biden knowing that the Putin-backed president has fled the nation. We've installed Poroshenko in Ukraine, and now I need my favors. Poroshenko, fire him, or you're not getting $1 billion. And what did Poroshenko do? The American-backed president that we installed after a coup. What happened? Poroshenko fired the prosecutor. And then now here we are all these years later. They smeared Trump. They tried throwing him in jail. They tried killing him, doing everything they could. Told you he's not allowed to be president. I'm still waiting to see him become president again. They said he's not allowed to be president. And then right at the last minute, in the 11th hour, Joe Biden pardons his son, and not just for the crimes he did, but anything that he did or didn't do all the way back to 2014 when Russia annexed Crimea, Burisma, all the corruption happened. Hunter got in on the board at Burisma, started funneling tens of millions, hundreds of $1 millions through his shell companies. But Joe, the big guy, knew all about it. Joe's brother knew all about it. Who knows who else knows about it? But now, if you can't investigate Hunter and you can't expose those things, then that they basically wiped off a trail of breadcrumbs that leads to the DNC, the deep state, and Joe Biden and the crime syndicate that is funneling all the money through politics. That is a bread. Now, I'm not saying that that will fix it, and that's the fix all for them. They still got a lot of breadcrumb trails out there. There's a lot of bread on the floor at this point. All I'm saying is him pardoning him back to 2014 is very, very clearly them wiping a breadcrumb trail off the board that now you can't go down that breadcrumb trail and follow it to where the money goes. Now that's one leg of the race that you can't even look at. You can't even look at that to see what was happening with the money, where'd it go. It was very slick of the deep state to do that. Biden pardoning him back to 2014, because if you let Trump do it, it wouldn't have went that way. I think at this point, this move, I think warrants an all-out attack. I'm sorry. I was really holding back and trying to hold my temper and just say, no, let's fix the country, let's mend the country, let's stop this division, let's no. This pardon is a spit in our face. If you're an American and you think this pardon is not a direct if this is not Joe Biden spitting directly in your open mouth, I don't know what is. If this isn't a wake-up call to you and you're justifying it, now already see all the news articles saying, "This is historically, this is actually warranted. This is actually justified. It's actually justified. Hey, everyone is justified. This is a justified thing. This is justified historically. Historically, it's a justified pardoning. It's a normal thing. This is historically normal. Don't worry at all." That's what all the news articles are saying. Now, I just Googled it, binged it, and that's everything all the articles say from the AP and all those, the mainstream media. This is normal. This is totally normal. This is normal. Joe Biden does the normal thing. Hey, you tell me. Here, I'm gonna play it, but this is a dude who knows we installed a president that is gonna do the favors that we need done, and he went ahead and did them. So you tell me why he went back. I'm crazy. You tell me why he went back to 2014 if I'm wrong. You tell me.
Do I think I think the Donbass has potential to be able to be solved, but it takes two things. One of those things is missing now, and that is I'm desperately concerned about the backsliding on the part of Kyiv in terms of corruption. They made, I mean, I'll give you one concrete example. I was, not but it just happened to be that was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones.
I'm not a body language expert, and like haven't worked in that field per se, but you know, I basically did it for a living in my career on the fly, but I don't have any formal training. Whenever someone has too much information or other information, incriminating information, and they're trying to talk about it, the publicly, you know, the easily accepted answer, the official story, I guess you'll say, it's the little tiny things. Why did he feel the need to over explain why he is assigned Ukraine? In the foreign policy, why does Joe need to? Well, because I'll give you a concrete example of he's worried. He's explaining that he's worried about the corruption in Kiev. He's worried about the corruption in Ukraine, and he's going to give you a concrete evidence of this corruption he's talking about. And he says, and well, not I was not, it was, oh, I was given to me. They gave that to me. It was random. You see, it wasn't. Why is he over explaining that? I know it's a minor thing, and you'll call me crazy, a crazy right wing extremist conspiracy theorist. But why was he stuttering and stammering over his words to just say that he's talking about foreign stuff in Ukraine? But because he knows he has Ukraine for those specific reasons, he he almost said something out loud he thought he shouldn't say, and then because he's a idiot, because he's an idiot. And he knows that he's doing it for corruption. He's the corruption. He is the corruption in Ukraine, and he's trying to stop the corruption by getting rid of the. So a prosecutor was investigating Burisma, where his son was given a job with no experience in the energy field in the financial sector. He's not anything. Hunter Biden is no one. He doesn't know how to do anything. Has no experience and is getting paid. What did he get paid? $1 million a month or something? $10 million a month? I don't. It was something ridiculous. He had a ridiculous, whatever it was. It was millions of dollars he was getting paid on the books, let alone whatever he was doing off the books. And Joe knows. So he just even the littlest things that his assignment of foreign aid in Ukraine, he has to stutter about and not. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. Why is he stuttering and talking about that? What's the big deal, Joe? What did you almost say?
And so I got Ukraine. And I remember going over convincing our team, or others too, convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
So, hey, you idiot voters that voted wrong because you're dumb and uneducated on the facts. It's just a coincidence that Joe Biden was given an assignment of foreign aid in Ukraine dealing with billions of dollars at the same time that a newly adorned president in Ukraine that's backed by the American machine took office after a vacated presidency after a massacre. That's all coincidental. None of that means anything. It has nothing to do with America. It has nothing to do with us and the billions of dollars that we spent there. We don't do that. It was a coincidence that Joe Biden was given that assignment. It's just a coincidence that of all the countries in the world that his only surviving son got a job on an energy at an energy company for millions of dollars when he has no experience doing that. And of all the countries, it's Ukraine. And just a coincidence that Joe Biden happens to get that assignment as he's the vice president. And it's just a coincidence that the prosecutor was investigating that company that coincidentally hired the vice president of the United States' son to cook the books. That's a coincidence. And then whenever Hunter was charged with crimes in current time, whenever he is given the pardon from his dad, it's just a coincidence that Joe Biden is selecting January 1st, 2014 as the date in which Hunter's pardon begins. All of those are coincidences. You don't know anything. Don't do your own research. Just make your baskets. Go to work at Costco. Stock the shelves. Don't connect any dots. Don't understand what anything is. You're just an idiot. These are all coincidences. This is historically warranted. This is normal. This is totally fine. There's nothing to see here. All of these things are coincidences, and I'm a crazy right-wing extremist propagandist, like lunatic person that's dumb. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Do the things, press the buttons, enjoy this music video. Meanwhile, at the DNC.
We are all floating on the waters of the turbulent stream called fate. But then our time runs out and the river of life dries up before we realize who we are. I have to find out where I really belong in this world. What is destined for me in this life? I found the bracelet, and now I'm the master of not only my life. You all belong to me. I'm your biggest nightmare.